Africa for the next millennium.
This is the CBS Evening News. With Dan Rather reporting from CBS News headquarters in New York.
Good evening. There could be a decision within 48 hours on whether to shift focus on the crash of Egypt Air 990 to a criminal investigation. This comes after initial information from the jet's cockpit voice recorder has raised serious questions about what the pilots were doing before and during the plane's final moments and plunge into the sea. CBS's Bob Orr has the latest. Bob?
Dan, federal investigators tonight are not yet calling the crash of Egypt Air Flight 990 a crime, but that may be where this bizarre mystery is heading. CBS News now has learned that NTSB Chairman Jim Hall has had many discussions with FBI Director Louis Freeh about turning over control of the investigation to the FBI. But that might depend on how investigators interpret exactly what is on the cockpit voice recorder. The voice recorder, pulled from the depths of the Atlantic over the weekend, is raising serious questions about the actions of the pilots in the cockpit of Egypt Air Flight 990. Sources say the recorder has captured the voice of one of the pilots, believed to be the co-pilot, making some type of religious statement that could be a prayer just before the jet went into its fatal dive. But there's no agreement on what the prayer means, whether it was routine or something more ominous. In any case, there is no proof at this point that the prayer had any connection to the crash that followed. CBS News has also been told that after the jet began to dive, the voice tape recorded what sounds like the cockpit door opening and a voice asking something to the effect of, "What's going on?" And it's not at all clear that both pilots were working to save the plane. Sources say a voice, believed to be that of the captain, can be heard urging his partner to, quote, pull with me, a command you'd expect to hear from a pilot trying to pull out of a steep dive. Apparently, there is no response before the captain then says, "Cut the engines." The flight data recorder tells us both engines were shut down just seconds before the jet lost electrical power, briefly climbed, and then crashed. With no signs of an airplane problem, the investigation could be headed to the FBI.
We are concentrating our efforts on determining from the evidence, including the cockpit voice recorder, whether or not this investigation is to remain under the leadership of the National Transportation Safety Board.
Part of the challenge is that most of the cockpit conversation is in Arabic, so investigators continue to listen to the tape, trying to better understand the voices and also the other noises that can be heard in the background. But we're told a decision to transfer the case could come in 48 hours. Dan?
Thanks, Bob. A short while ago, I spoke to CBS News consultant Jim Kellstrom, former deputy director of the FBI and lead investigator in the crash of TWA 800. I asked him if he thinks investigators will eventually be able to coax more information from the so far disappointing cockpit voice recorder.
It'll tell us, the investigators, it'll tell the American people, it'll tell the people of the world eventually what happened. It's not hitting us right in the face, apparently, but they'll work on this tape. They'll have audio experts enhance it. I'm sure in the next 24 or 48 hours, they'll have an idea of what went on in the cockpit.
Are we going to know eventually what caused this crash?
My opinion is that we will know, Dan. We may not know the total story of why, if there was intervention, why that intervention took place. I think it's probably going to be a story that's woven through all the troubles in the world, particularly in the Middle East, the troubles in Egypt, the troubles that date back to the assassination of Sadat and the attempts on Mubarak's life. Whether it has anything to do with that, I don't know. But I suspect if there is intervention, it has something to do with this war that's going on for people's minds.
Jim Kellstrom, thanks.
Thank you.
A jury was chosen today in the first criminal trial over a commercial plane crash in this country, the 1996 ValueJet disaster. All 110 people on board were killed when ValueJet Flight 592 crashed in the Everglades after takeoff from Miami. On trial are the now defunct SaberTech maintenance company and 2 former workers. They are charged in connection with the loading of oxygen generators in the cargo hold, which investigators say sparked a fire. The U.S. Supreme Court today agreed to hear a case that could redraw the lines of separation of church and state in the 21st century. This time, as CBS's Jim Stewart reports, the issue of school prayer has shifted from the classroom to the high school football stadium.
Participate It took high school senior Marion Ward less than a minute to have her say last September, but that was long enough to set up her case for another Supreme Court debate on one of the nation's oldest and most emotional of arguments.
Dear Lord, thank you for this evening. Thank you for all the prayers that were lifted up this week for me.
It was the Dear Lord part that got the court's attention. The High Court has banned officially sponsored prayer at public schools since 1962. But at high school football games throughout the South this fall, dozens of students have led prayers of defiance. The question for the court now is whether student-led prayer amounts to the same thing as officially sponsored prayer. The Galveston School Board, for one, argues that it doesn't. The school district is not causing prayer or endorsing prayer if it leaves to the student the choice of what to say. The court has already given one hint of how it may rule next spring. In 1992, it barred clergy-led prayer at high school graduations. But the very next year let stand a case allowing student-led prayers at graduation. The justices may be preparing to extend that right now to football games as well, although Barry Lynn of Americans United for the Separation of Church and State hopes not.
You know, high school football stadiums are places where athletic competitions take place. They're not the place for a revival meeting, and I think the United States Supreme Court knows the difference.
One of the reasons the High Court banned prayer in public schools in the first place was because it feared that teacher-led prayer put pressure on students to conform to that religious belief. The question for the court now is whether a student-led invocation is really any different. Jim Stewart, CBS News, Washington.
In other actions today, the High Court, without comment, let stand a ruling that gave a lesbian the same child visitation rights as a heterosexual would get after a couple splits up. And the justices also refused to consider making it easier for innocent bystanders injured in high-speed police chases to sue in federal court. It was a long time coming, but the United States and China today finally reached agreement on a major trade pact with far-reaching consequences. This deal was signed in Beijing by the chief U.S. trade representative and China's top trade officials. By lowering some tariffs, it offers the prospect of some greater sales for American industry and farmers. For China, this pact clears the way for coveted membership in the World Trade Organization, which makes the rules and opens a lot of doors for global commerce and finance. Still to come on the CBS Evening News, American rescuers in the earthquake ruins of Turkey, a high-stakes telescope repair in space, and people fighting to save the animals of Africa on our countdown to 2000.
Out here, am I supposed to say, slow down, I'm constipated? I don't think so. So I rely on doctor-recommended Metamucil. Works with my body, gently, which is important to a sensitive guy like myself.
You are in the fight of your life. Just you against your smoking addiction, one-on-one. Trouble is, it's not a fair fight, and few people win it. But you can give yourself a fighting chance to win with Zyban. Zyban doesn't work for everyone. Zyban is part of a comprehensive program from your doctor to help you stop smoking. It's different from nicotine replacements. Zyban is the only prescription medicine that's nicotine-free, so you don't have to stop smoking all at once. As Zyban reduces your cravings, you feel like smoking less and less until you're ready to stop completely because you're ready to win. You should know there is a risk of seizure associated with Zyban. To reduce the risk, don't take Zyban if you have or have had a seizure or eating disorder, or if you take Wellbutrin. Don't take Zyban if you use an MAO inhibitor. Side effects may include dry mouth and difficulty sleeping. Ask your doctor if Zyban is right for you, because it can help you quit smoking by making it a fight you can win. Zyban, you don't have to quit all at once.
Enterprise? You rented our car from Enterprise?
Yeah.
Why Enterprise?
Because they pick us up. Free.
A free pickup? Wow, they ought to be number one.
They are number one.
Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
On a state visit to Turkey in advance of a European summit, President Clinton today promised to help Turkey recover from 2 major earthquakes. As the death toll from Friday's quake passed 450, rescue teams worked into the night in the hardest-hit city. Some Americans who saved lives in the August quake are back, and CBS's John Roberts caught up with them.
When the 70-mile fault that runs through northwestern Turkey cracked, Düzce fell. Block after block, buildings have collapsed on themselves, spilled into the streets, or merely toppled over.
We got in here yesterday afternoon, and we started working immediately and was working all through the night.
For the second time in 12 weeks, the rescue team from Virginia's Fairfax County is in Turkey.
Lance, can I get a situation update? Let me know if you need any relief.
With backhoes, shovels, hands and feet, they are stripping down a flattened apartment building piece by piece, determined that the quake won't claim anyone that they can get to first.
We still report of 3 people still missing in the building, possibly somewhere in these stairwell areas, from all the information we've gathered.
The work here is painstakingly slow. Each twisted piece of concrete has to be peeled back like the layers of an onion, in hopes that whoever was inside this building found a void, a place to hide as the walls came crashing down around them.
Any hope that there's anybody alive in here?
You never know. You just got to keep going.
But with each passing hour, hope dims. Swiss rescuers found the body of this man's mother yesterday. Exhausted, unable to even speak, he waits for word on his wife and daughter. Everyone in this town wears the face of misery. Even the team from Fairfax conceded defeat today. 2 bodies found, they surrendered the rest to the wreckage and moved on. John Roberts, CBS News, Düzce, Turkey.
On the CBS Weather Watch, late in the season, Hurricane Lenny lost a bit of strength in the Caribbean and tracked east. The hurricane still has sustained 85-mile-an-hour winds, plus torrential rains. Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands could be affected. The U.S. mainland, probably not. On the CBS Market Watch, U.S. stock markets mark time today, waiting to see if the Federal Reserve will raise interest rates tomorrow. The Dow Jones Industrial Average down 8 points. The NASDAQ went nowhere. Next on tonight's CBS Evening News, trying to save the mighty Hubble telescope.
This is the face of erectile dysfunction. So is this. And this. Fact is, 1 in 3 men have some form of ED, a medical condition also called impotence that affects men of every age, race, and background. What else do all these men have in common? They all faced up to their problem and got help. If you're experiencing ED, there's no need to hide your face. Just talk to your doctor. It's the best way to get educated about ED and how to treat it.
Well, all right. Tailor-made Energel ball. Explosive distance, soft feel. I found them online and at 25 retail stores.
StoreRunner.com has shopping experts in every conceivable field, like Mark Anderson in sporting goods.
Ooh, Dunlop double titanium ball and a Callaway Hawkeye titanium driver. Am I right?
StoreRunner.com. Log on, let's shop.
Professor, tell us about your discovery. Absolutely. You can get all your long-distance calls for under $1.
How is that possible?
Just dial 1010-220. It's only 99 cents for all calls up to 20 minutes and just 9 cents a minute after that.
When do you get these rates?
Every hour of every day.
And no monthly fees.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, no monthly fees.
I told you they'd love it.
Dial 1010-220.
Great meal.
Uh-oh, gas pressure. What now? What else? Gas X, with the most powerful medicine for fast relief. Nothing works faster.
Hey, want to go for ice cream?
Gas X, the power to fight gas fast.
An ordinary cordless vacuum. The Dustbuster, the most powerful cordless handheld vac you can buy. The Dustbuster, available with VersaPack power, built by Black & Decker.
The mighty Hubble Space Telescope that has been unlocking the mysteries of the universe has gone into a protective lockdown in orbit. As CBS's Jim Axelrod reports tonight, NASA knew it was only a matter of time before a gyroscope failure caused the safety shutdown, and it'll take a service call in space to fix it.
Like a rocket-powered knight ready for a ride to the rescue, the Space Shuttle Discovery was moved to its pad today, 3 weeks from a launch to the troubled Hubble Space Telescope.
At this time, we're unable to point accurately and precisely to targets in the sky so that we can take images with the Hubble.
Over the weekend, the Hubble lost its 4th of 6 gyroscopes, those sets of spinning balls that steady the telescope and allow it to lock onto images in far-off galaxies. It needs at least 3 gyros to work.
It's almost like the higher power binocular you use, the more jitter it is as you look through it because it's harder to keep it focused on that target.
As far back as February, NASA knew the gyros' days were numbered and planned a spacewalk mission like this to replace them. But glitches with the shuttle grounded that trip. So with this latest failure, a routine maintenance visit has become a high-stakes rescue mission.
You've got what amounts to a $6 billion space observatory here, and every day that goes by, depending on how you want to run the numbers, costs NASA something like $20 million.
The Hubble had been enjoying a glorious run of pictures and publicity. After an embarrassing optics failure was corrected 6 years ago, the Hubble started sending back a steady stream of images and data that further pinpointed the age of the universe and the existence of black holes.
I believe Hubble is one of the most important, invaluable, and productive scientific tools ever produced by man.
Training time is nearly over. The astronauts will soon dive into the real thing, a repair mission that suddenly has become dramatically more urgent. Jim Axelrod, CBS News, New York.
There's news on the CBS Health Watch this evening. Just as federal officials warned, the U.S. flu season is well underway well before Thanksgiving. Flu cases are reported in 37 states, 3 times as many as last month. The biggest outbreaks are in New York and Indiana. Up next on CBS, our Campaign 2000 coverage, a big spender promising to cut taxes.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Problem?
Doctor said my cholesterol is still too high.
What about diet and exercise?
They didn't do enough.
So?
He suggested adding Lipitor.
Lipitor, the #1 prescribed medication for lowering cholesterol. In clinical studies, Lipitor with diet was proven to lower bad cholesterol 39 to 60%, total cholesterol 29 to 45%, triglycerides 19 to 37%.
He said over 4 million people have started taking Lipitor to lower their cholesterol.
Lipitor is not for everyone, including people with liver disease or possible liver problems, women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant.
There'll be blood tests to check for liver problems.
Tell your doctor about muscle pain or weakness, as these may be signs of serious side effects.
You take Lipitor once a day.
Ask your doctor or pharmacist for more information on Lipitor and call 1-888-LIPITOR.
Well? Lipitor did it. My cholesterol's way down.
Lipitor, the lower numbers you're looking for.
What if you could treat wrinkles like an expert would? With Rock, the #1 anti-wrinkle cream in France, you can. Developed with dermatologists, Rock's pure and active form of vitamin A works deeper, inside skin surface. In a 12-week study, the appearance of fine lines was reduced by 86%, wrinkles by 42%. Something more superficial beauty treatments could never promise. Rock, we keep our promises.
I may look young, but I still suffer from hot flashes. I discovered a natural way to deal with it. New Healthy Woman from the makers of Monistat. Healthy Woman's a soy menopause supplement that helps relieve hot flashes in a natural way. New Healthy Woman.
This delicious green bean casserole is not the only way to enjoy French's French fried onions. Even standard spice become a savory side dish.
At the head of his cooking class.
Smile, you've got French's.
President Clinton and Republicans in Congress have reportedly cleared another major hurdle toward finally resolving the federal budget mess. This time, the trade-off involves Republicans agreeing to free up and start paying off $1 billion in U.S. back dues to the United Nations. In return, and in a reversal of policy, President Clinton agrees to accept some U.S. foreign aid restrictions on overseas family planning services that include abortion. In the race to see who's going to be the next president, the spotlight is on money again today. Republican Steve Forbes may not be making much of a dent in the polls, but he is having an impact on the campaign, not just with his flat tax idea, as it's called, but by bankrolling his campaign from his own seemingly bottomless, deep pockets. CBS's Bill Whitaker reports.
On the stump, Steve Forbes looks and sounds like a real contender.
Then one thing is clear. Now is the time to tear down this tax code.
Though he has plans for tax cuts and school choice, there's still that nagging perception that this heir of the Forbes magazine multi-millions is on the world's most expensive ego trip. He's already spent about $20 million, almost all of it his own money, matching all-time fundraising champ George W. Bush dollar for dollar. And he's prepared to spend more.
Thank you. I'm willing to devote what is necessary to get my message across to the American people.
What's it bought him?
Got to win.
Well, with the Republican field shrinking, his crowds actually are growing. Yet his poll numbers remain single digits, way behind Bush and even John McCain. Forbes hopes to corner conservative primary voters, surprising his main target, Bush, and skeptics.
Would you be in this race if you didn't have the personal finances?
Well, again, I think my own resources levels the playing field against an establishment that wanted to turn this contest into a coronation.
Critics charge all his money is polluting the field instead.
It's forcing everybody else, like George Bush, to raise even larger amounts of money and to opt out completely of the presidential public financing system.
Though political odds makers rate his chances of winning his party's nomination hopeless to a long shot, the Forbes campaign is running against the odds.
It's for real because the message is for real.
If everybody knows he doesn't have a chance of becoming president, nobody, it seems, has told Steve Forbes. Bill Whitaker, CBS News, Simi Valley, California.
There's a follow-up tonight to our Eye on America series reported by CBS's Vince Gonzalez about how used guns sold by police departments often wind up in the hands of murderers and other criminals. Partly as a result of these reports, an Illinois Congressman, Rod Blagojevich, has introduced legislation providing $10 million for new police firearms. To qualify, a police department would have to stop selling its old guns and destroy them. Straight ahead on the CBS Evening News, countdown to 2000 out of Africa, saving endangered wildlife for the 21st century and beyond.
You drag it, you bat it, drives you mad, but you can't get at it.
Say goodbye to dirt, dust, and hair with the new Pledge Grab It Sweeper and Claws. Because Pledge Grab It Claws are electrostatically charged to grab the stuff brooms and vacuums may miss.
You want to nab it, go on and grab it, so fast and light it could become a habit. Grab it!
And get rid of dirt, dust, and hair for good. New Pledge Grab It Sweeper and Claws.
Grab it!
Here's your regular internet homepage, and here's i1.com. It's free. You use it like Yahoo, Excite, or other search engines. Only i1.com gives away $10,000 every day, $1 million a month, and $10 million on tax day. Which one would you choose?
If my friend used this at work secretly and she won, would her boss get the money?
No, your friend would get the money.
It's good to know.
Introducing i1.com. Why wouldn't you?
You know, people still ask me about the crash. I'm tired of talking about the crash. I mean, first of all, it wasn't even really a crash. 1929. That was a crash.
Yeah, that was bad.
Maybe it was more like a market correction, typically defined by like 10, 20% drop in the Dow Jones Industrial Average, which if you consider the economic factors that are affecting the current risk premiums.
When we created a smarter kind of investment firm,
I guess it's not that surprising.
we created a smarter kind of investor.
What do you know about expense ratios?
An expense ratio is a percentage.
Dr. Scholl's next stop, San Francisco.
Let's talk about feet.
I do have corn.
I've tried Band-Aids.
They don't get rid of the corn.
This is Dr. Scholl's Cushion Gel Corn Removers. The Cushion Gel relieves the pain.
The medicated disc removes the corn.
It just feels so much better.
My work here is done.
Sundown Herbals presents its remarkable Twist and Learn label. It works like an herbal information center that helps you learn about herbs simply by turning the label. Sundown's new Twist and Learn label, where to turn for help.
46 days now to the year 2000, and while some of us are planning strategies to be the life of the party, others are planning strategies to preserve the life of the planet. Example, endangered wildlife, and an effort of the heart and high tech to save it. We take you tonight to CBS's Alan Pizzi in South Africa for the countdown to save entire species on the countdown to 2000.
Long before man began to measure time, these magnificent creatures ruled their world, a world that still appears to supply their every need. And they know exactly how to deal with humans who arrive uninvited. The breeding herds make it very clear when it's time to mind your own business. It is hard to believe they could disappear in the next millennium unless humans intervene. The Cape buffalo, considered by hunters to be Africa's most dangerous game, is among the most threatened. The buffalo have been struck by a disease from domestic cattle, bovine tuberculosis. The sick must be separated and killed.
There is a chance that bovine TB could actually get into other species, which would be disastrous.
It has already spread to lions who prey on buffalo, and disease is not the only danger. These three brothers will have limited choices when play becomes the mating game. Encroaching civilization split the animal population into isolated units, increasing the risk of inbreeding.
In the old days, animals could migrate over large distances. They could then rest certain areas, migrate, mix with other herds, and so keep a wide genetic diversity. And with the environment changing, the habitats change, and animals need to have a wide genetic base on which to adapt to the new changes.
So a new breed of scientist is trying something never before done with wild animals. In this makeshift lab in the bush, the technology of the future is being used to build a gene bank for preserving endangered big game, starting with sperm from the culled buffalo.
Although our specific project looks at the use of artificial insemination, we certainly don't want to see a world one day where the rhinos breed by artificial insemination. We're just here as a sort of an insurance at the moment. And I think we can beat this thing, but it is going to take a lot of work and a lot of effort.
And a lot of money.
And a lot of money.
Many conservationists believe that for Africa's wildlife to survive and thrive in the coming millennium, the game must pay for itself. And it can. This place, for instance, may look like a national park. In fact, it's part of a huge and highly profitable corporation. And the shareholders aren't just people, they're also the animals. At game parks like this, tourists pay nearly $500 a day for the privilege of sharing the animals' world. They're also helping to protect that world and its rightful owners from disease, overbreeding, and poachers. But still, there are casualties. Tripod the rhino lost a foot in a poacher's snare. Fortunately, he ended up at a place where something else totally new is being tried, hand-rearing endangered species.
Come, you two. Bottles. Come on. There you go. They're on a fat-free milk formula, which we supplement then with a special starch.
But how much difference can lavishing time and attention on a few individuals, even those as lovable as abandoned cheetah cubs, make?
The more endangered an animal becomes, the more important each individual is. And how are you going to be able to save the whole species if you don't know how the individual functions and what its problems are, what the threats are?
What has already been learned is that for the good of us all, mankind and animals must walk together into the new millennium. Alan Pizzi, CBS News, South Africa.
And that's part of our world. For the CBS Evening News, Dan Rather reporting. Good night.
For news 24 hours a day, CBS.com on the internet and on our interactive partner, America Online, at keyword CBS News.
The #1 newscast at 6 o'clock for the people of Portland, Vancouver, and the Pacific Northwest with Shirley